Uh, Today I had the most stressful day. So stressful. Like I had to drive through snow, which I've never done. I was 2 hours away. I had to get to class in time. I was helping my aunt out, and I had a test today, and I didn't study. And then when I got to school, they were closed because of the snowstorm, which I did not get the message, or I didn't get it in time. And I was just panicking, but let me say that it worked out for me. It worked out for me, and that's what today's video is about. My name is Sheridan. Welcome to my realm. And I want to talk about how past effort combined with present focus equals success. And obviously, it's not the only formula for success, but for today, for everything that happened today, it's because of the things that I did in the past to help future me, and then present me being able to say, okay, it's time to lock in. Nothing else matters. Let's do what we need to do. And so let's get into a practical example. My own experience. I mean, what else can I talk about? So I've always been pretty good at school. And I'm not a big note taker because I know I'm not going to look through them notes. But I do like to write in my book, and I feel like it helps me because when I review the lesson, I see like, okay, these were the highlighted points. This is what I thought was most important to pay attention to. And then my book also has like questions and answers, and then when I find the answer, I highlight wherever the answer was found in the book. And so I have my own study method, and I do this while we're in class learning the lesson. And so that was on the day that we did study. And so fast forward to today when I have to take the test 5 days later, I did not study at all outside of doing my regular highlighting, doing the little homework questions, and then that was it. I didn't even review it like I normally would because of everything. I was snowed in, like I had to help my aunt, like it was so much I did not get to study. But when I drove to school and found out that they were closed and that I had to take the test between these 2 hours or else it was gonna like disappear online, but I saw that I could give myself like an hour to study before I needed to take the test before it expires. And that's what I did. I sat down, I locked in, I bought a drink, and I said, we're studying. I put on my headphones, drove to a cafe. Actually, I went to Caribou Coffee, even though I'm drinking Seven Brew, my two favorite coffee places. And I did that thing. I got a 100 on my test. I can't believe it. Now, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that I do have a fairly good memory. And I say fairly because there's certain things that I can remember really, really well, and I haven't unlocked the secret to it, or else I'd be using it like my superpower. But when it comes to studying, I think repetition is key. Like, I don't know, maybe not repetition. I don't know. Doing this video is so hard. But I think if there's one thing I will want y'all to know, it's that because when I went to study and before I got that 100, I opened my book, I saw everywhere that I had highlighted. I don't know, maybe it was I don't know. But it was me paying attention in class. Like I was actually paying attention. I did what I normally do. Like I didn't screw around in class even though I could have. But it was that past effort that made it to where even though current me was panicking, current me didn't give myself the time I needed to actually feel confident and fully well-read when it came to the test. But because I was actually paying attention in class, I had like reference knowledge. And then when I was studying, I had my little notes so I could compare and contrast and like, okay, that's important, that's important. And then I locked in, and honestly it was a little bit hard. The locking in part is hard because even in this cafe, like there's a million things going on. They're making coffee, customers are coming in, other people are studying, other people are just chilling, hanging out and talking, and I didn't realize how chaotic of a place that would be to take a test. But I put my headphones in, I was able to lock in, and I had to tell myself to lock in. But another thing is that while I was studying, I let myself take a break too. I love the Pomodoro studies that, you study for a bit and then you take a break for a bit. And usually I just work through the breaks. I'm not going to lie. Because once I'm on a roll, like I just like to just be on the roll because it's hard to just get the ball rolling. So why would I stop it? But I realized like there was something about stopping. Even though I knew I needed to study, I knew I needed to take the test before it expired. It was something about, it was just a 5-minute break. It was something about being on a roll and just saying, okay, I'm going to take a break. And I sat there. It just was, what do you call it? When you just don't exist anymore. I was disassociating. I just sat there and disassociated, looking at, like, I'll look at the sky or I'll look blankly Hopefully not that bad. But I disassociated for some time and was just able to kind of think and just be present with my moment. Like, I had locked in so bad that I wasn't even aware of my surroundings anymore. So I'm like, okay, let me see where I'm at. Okay, these people left, those people came in. Okay, it's quiet. And it's like, how do I feel? I'm like, girl, you're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, you know. And then I just kind of disassociated some more. And then when I came back into reality, I looked at the time, only had like a minute left, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I feel like taking that break just to regulate, just say, how am I feeling? What's going on? Do I have to pee? What's happening with me? That break helped me to where when I got back to finish studying, and then when I got to a certain point, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I had 15 minutes left to take that test. Like, I was really, really pushing it, but I knew that once I studied, there's 30 some odd questions on there. And if you actually study, you read it for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Like, each question should take like 20 seconds. So I knew I could get through it if I actually study. If I didn't, then I have to sit there and hem and haw and But, you know, that test was actually ridiculously easy too. It was just like, choose which of these that it positively affects the body. Choose which one of these positively affects the body. You know, hammering it to death, this, like the 3 bad options, 3 obviously wrong answers, and then the right answer. So maybe I'm not that smart, but I'm still gonna give myself the W, give myself the win, because I kind of let myself down in several ways today. And sometimes I just focus so much on where I fail. I analyze so much what I did wrong that I don't take the time to see what I did right and how I help myself out in the little ways that I am still doing good, even though I feel like I've fallen off the ladder, fallen off the bandwagon. So you've got to come through for yourself, because you never know when future you might need you. So sometimes you can't lock in for your current self, but it's like, lock in for future you. And then current me, I had to lock in for current me, because, you know, when the situation is dire, it's dire in that moment. But thanks to the efforts of past me, like, I actually had tools and resources, and I wasn't completely starting from a blank standpoint. Because sometimes in lectures do be boring, but I feel like it's a really good way for me to study. Anyways, I don't want to keep taking up space in my camera roll, but I wanted to record the video. This is so hard. Like, I haven't recorded a video in so long, and now that I'm doing it after a while, like, it feels like, girl, what are you talking about? But then I have to remember, this is my realm, and this is me putting out information that I think will help other people who are similar to me. And so even though I think it's cringe and I don't want to listen to myself, I'm like, somebody else will totally get where I'm coming from. So somebody else, hopefully you listening, are gonna connect and say, yeah, I get her, I feel her, I know that sentiment, and that's what I want. So I'm putting this out there for future me and for future viewers. So thank you for listening. You know, lock in for future you and lock in for current you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.